Well, the SA Weather Service has issued another warning for severe downpours across the country from today. The KZN government is still, as we know, picking up the pieces from the latest floods. Hundreds of homes and schools were destroyed, leaving dozens of people homeless, and at least 7 people also lost their lives in areas including the Harry Gwala District, Mtubatuba and Umzimkhulu. Let's get you an update on preparations for this latest downpour forecast. KZN COGTA spokesperson Nonala Ndlovu joins us on the line this morning. Nonala, it's great to talk to you. Thanks very much indeed for coming on. How bad are we expecting the weather to get this week in KZN?
Good morning, and thank you for having us. We're starting on a very difficult question. The question as to how bad we're expecting it to get, we really can't predict. We rely on the South African Weather Service to predict the weather, and even when they do, sometimes it gets more severe than what had been predicted. So it just becomes a matter of wait and see and being on high alert and making sure that all the things are on standby to really deal with any eventuality that happens when the downpours start falling.
Right. Wait and see, but still staying prepared, right? Do we feel like we are beginning to bridge that gap between being reactive versus being proactive?
Yeah, I would say we are to a larger extent. But obviously, when there is a storm, there's a damaging storm, there's very little you can do to predict that this storm now will blow the roof of Michelle's house, or it will damage the walls or anything like that. And unfortunately, it's something that's really very hard to control. But what we can control, though, is the movement of people during that time, and it's ensuring that people who are in low-lying areas and in areas that are vulnerable to flooding are moved, and they're provided with shelter immediately, and keeping people. But also people being aware that such a crisis is looming, and prepare and be ready to run for their lives should the need arise.
We are losing our connection to you just a little bit, Nonala, and let's hope that it stabilizes while I ask you this next question. I mean, are we at the stage yet where we are wanting to give learners, for example, a warning to stay away from school? We know that in the last bit of flooding, we did see quite a bit of infrastructure damage, bridges almost washed entirely away, some learners having to, cross high levels of water to try and get from school or to school. What's the warning there insofar as particularly learners and school children is concerned?
Well, at this stage, there hasn't been danger that goes to that extent of learners not being able to access schools. So, but the what occurred last week, it occurred in the depth of the night, and it was this wind that lasted for like 20 minutes. When you go to the area, they will tell you, yes, there was rain, but the damaging factor mainly was the wind that just lasted for a short period of time. And it's something that we really, as I said earlier, is really something that's very difficult to control. But we are keeping an eye on it. And should there be a need, then the necessary warnings and the necessary announcements will be made. I'm shying away from saying learners keep away from school, because that's not what we want to do. It's exam time, and we need our learners to be writing the exams and moving on with their lives. But if the need, if at some point the situation escalates to such an extent, I'm sure a relevant announcement will be made at that time.
I imagine you'll be working with your counterparts in provincial education if indeed a matric learner is unable to make it to school safely and sit for their exam.
Definitely, I must indicate that during this time there is a permanent structure of JOC that sits on a daily basis and discussing these issues until the weather stabilizes. All the stakeholders are involved in that. There's municipalities, there's sector departments, there's even NGOs and other interested parties, and we sit and we strategize in terms of how we're going to deal with the issues as they arise. So if a situation arises, I'm sure there would be a quick intervention that will ensure safety first, and also minimizes the disruption to the learners.
Yeah. KZN COGTA spokesperson Nonala Ndlovu, let me thank you for your time this morning. Apologies for that shaky connection to that phone call. But yeah, that is the message from the KZN government. Be on the lookout if you are in the area for any kind of warning as a result of that severe weather.